Hello everyone. Welcome to the User of Bricks channel. Today we are going to be going over the element type mob. The mob. The hotkey is M, and it's found in the, as usual, with the add new mod element icon over here. This video is a updated version of one of my previous videos, so if you have watched that video, you will see that there isn't a whole lot that has changed, but what has changed quite a bit. Anyway, so let's get right into it with creating a mob. So I'm just going to call this mob test, and let's look through all of the different features of the mob element. First of all, right off the bat, there is the name of the mob. Below that is something that I feel that not many people know what has changed or how to make custom mob models, or not make them, but implement them. So the way that mob models have changed is that you no longer can add them through the mob element themselves. As you can see, I have the drop down open, and you will usually see all of these except for this one down here. That is one of my custom models. And you can tell that by the box with the word Java on it. If you remember, that is a model that I showed everyone how to custom animate. It's a humanoid model that has elbows and knees. Anyway, let's see how to import and use a custom model. So you want to go to Workspace again, go to your resources, make sure you are on 3D models and texture mappings. You will want to import a Java model, and you can find your custom model. For me, I put mine on the desktop. It's a lightning orb. It too has a custom, I guess you could say, animation. But yeah, I will be using this, and you import it, and then you can choose your animations. So if you want to animate the head, the right leg, the left leg, the right arm, the left arm, you can do that. You could also make your own custom animations and skip this. You could use this as part of your custom animations. But yeah, so I'm going to skip this. And as you can see, it is imported. Now if we go back to our mob element and we click on the drop down for the model, you can see that the model is in there and you can now use it. Yeah, you'll also want to import a texture file. If you haven't done that already, you can either do that through, again, the resources tab in the workspace tab, tabs within tabs. You can do that in the texture files, and then you import a texture and import mob, GUI, logo, etc. textures. And it will appear down here in other textures. Okay, so back to the mob elements. I'm just going to quickly import the texture for the lightning orb. And there we are. Okay, next up is the bounding box for the mob. This is a little glitchy in Mcreator 1.9.0. For some reason, it keeps defaulting to the normal humanoid bounding box, which means it's the same bounding box as a player, a zombie, a skeleton, I believe a creeper, and the stray, the husk, all of those biped-like mobs. So you can change this. I'm not going to mess with it as I don't really need to do anything with it. So yeah, next up is the spawn egg options. This you can turn it on if you don't want it to have a spawn egg, so you can create a custom way for it to enter the game. If you didn't know, the iron golem doesn't have a spawn egg, and you can make an iron golem like thing and have the spawn egg disabled, just so that you can do different things. The two colors, this is the base color and this is all of the dots on the egg. You can of course change it to whatever you really desire, and it will have those colors. You can select if your mob is a boss. You can choose the color of the hotbar. If you know the Ender Dragon or the Wither, they have the pink hotbars up at the top of your screen. You can either have yours be a blue, red, green, yellow, purple, or white, as well as pink. The progress, you can have it as progress, like I believe that's the health. You can have it notched, so I believe that's still showing the health, is just showing it in 6 different steps, and then 10 steps, 12 steps, and 20 steps. So yeah. After that is the equipment. This only works, as it says, for biped and zombie models. So yeah, the first slot, you could say, here is the main hand, and then comes the offhand, then the helmet, the chest plate, the leggings, and the boots. You can put your own custom armor and items in here. You can put just about everything. So you could place different items in the inventory. Don't know why you'd want to have the other things in armor in the armor slots, but you of course can. It just may look rather odd. Okay, after that is the mob label. This is like the name of the mob. You know how a player has their name above their head? I believe this does the same thing to mobs. I haven't tested this yet, so I don't know myself if it has worked. I haven't really found it useful, but you might find it useful. So let's continue on to the next page. There are, I believe, 6 pages, 5 pages, something like that. Okay, so on this next page, the first thing is the mob behavioral characteristics. This is what type it is. Is it aggressive? Is it passive? Or is it like a squid, pretty much? Yeah, so after the behavioral characteristics comes up the creature type. And not many know exactly what this is. Undefined. This pretty much just tells the game what to characterize this. If you have it as undead or illagers, I believe they will attack villagers. Unfortunately, there's no thing to make the mob and a villager, so sorry, I have a little bit of a cold, so you might hear me cough every once in a while. So yeah, people tend to leave it undefined. That's just fine. If you want your what am I thinking of? Your mob to be affected by the Bane of Arthropods enchantment for your sword, you can make your a mob and an arthropod. This will pretty much just affect the enchantment working on it. Okay, so next is the mob's health and experience. The experience is over on the right and the health is on the left. Health in all of the different things in all of Minecraft and Mcreator, it's done by counting half a heart as 1 and a whole heart as 2. So this mob with a health value of 10 has 5 hearts. So yeah. Next is the movement speed and attack strength. The movement speed, I wouldn't change this, make it go any higher, or your mob is just going to be zipping around everywhere uncontrollably, and it's generally not pleasant to look at. And then, of course, the attack strength, I believe this is in the same values as the health. So I believe this mob right now will attack with 1.5 hearts of damage. So yeah. Next is the armor protection base value. This is just how armored your mob is. Yeah, I'm not entirely sure how the game works and how those values work, but what I know is that the higher the value, the higher the armor value. So yeah, it's pretty self-explanatory, except for what the value actually means. You can look at armor and whatnot to figure out what you want to do for that, and you could get a good idea of what to do. Next is a new feature that Mcreator added in 1.9.0. It's the immunities. Before, you could, I believe, just tell the game if it was fire resistant, but now you can say it's resistant to arrows, to fall damage, cactus, direct player attack. I believe that would be swords. I'm not sure about arrows. There's also potions, lightning, and drowning. So if you want your mob to be underwater, which they will be revamping the ability for underwater mobs in the next update, you can select this checkbox and your mob won't drown. It can walk underwater and whatnot. You can also make your mob rideable. I believe they have fixed this to where you can control the mob, but I'm not sure. Not many people use this, I have seen, so I'm not sure how useful that will be to everyone. Okay, so next is the mob drop and rare drop. So the mob drop is the one that drops every single time. Sometimes I believe there are more than one of them dropping, and then others there's just one of it dropping. And then the rare drop doesn't drop every single time. Sometimes it drops as 1. I believe it also can drop as 2, but that's extremely rare. Right, so on to the sounds. There's the living sound, the hurt sound, and the death sound. These you can change through the entire Minecraft database. I believe you can also add your own. Why not? Okay, so to put your own custom sounds in, you again go to the workspace resources sound files and you import an OGG sound file. And I believe that will show up in these menu bars you can see here. So, yeah. You can change the living sound, the hurt sound, and the death sound. Some people use mobs as timers, but as you saw from my last video, you can actually create your own timers to do different things. So yeah, check that out. And by the way, all the links that I'm saying will be in the description. So go ahead and check those out. Okay, so now on the next page is the particles. You can choose particles to spawn around the mob or not to spawn around the mob. You can also do particles through procedures to make particles only work at certain times but not others. Yeah, you can choose like what type of particle it is. There's all of the vanilla ones. Unfortunately, you can't change the color or any of that, but you can change how the particles spawn. You can have it be on top, which I'm not sure how that works with a mob. Maybe it spawns the particles in the head, maybe above the head. You can also do tube, which means the particles will just spawn throughout the mob and all the way up for a while. I believe it doesn't go up forever, but it will do the column as you see in the picture. The plane is pretty much that. I'm not sure if this is at the feet of the mob, the chest of the mob, or on the top of the head. I'm not entirely sure. I haven't messed with the particles too much when using this particles editor. You can also have a condition for spawning. This, I believe, has to be one of the global variables. So down here in global variables, you can add a variable, and I believe it can be any of the global variables: session, world, or map. So yeah, the particle amount, that's just the amount, I believe, per ticks that the particles are spawned. There's also the radius. I believe this is only for the spread, and I believe it works. It's interesting how it works, because this is not the amount of blocks away the particles spawn, but I'm not entirely sure how this works, but all I know is that 0.5 is pretty much what you see in the picture, and as you can see in the picture, they go over one block. So yeah. Okay, on the next page, this is where you can do all of your procedures. There are currently 9 places you can put a procedure for an entity. There is when it is struck by lightning, when it falls, when it dies, when it is hurt, when something right-clicks on the mob, which would be the player, or if you're multiplayer, one of the players. When the mob kills another one, sometimes that can be useful. On initial spawn, that's when it spawns into the world. You can have it do different things only then. You can add different statuses to the mob and stuff like that. There's also collision with the mob, and then the mob tick updates. All of these are useful for your own custom things. Okay, next page. This is where all the AI, the movement, the tasks, and all of that are done. Unfortunately, Mcreator has not yet implemented a way for us to create our own AI tasks, but we can use the vanilla tasks. And they would be down here in the basic tasks, combat tasks, target tasks, village-related tasks, and other tasks. The basic tasks are just like wandering around, avoiding water, looking around, swimming in water, leaping at a target destination with a speed factor. The speed factor is just how fast it moves. This also works upon the previous set speed of the mob. So I believe it is a multiplying factor. Maybe it is an addition factor, something of that sort. So the higher both numbers are, the faster the mob will run. Okay, the combat tasks, these are self-explanatory. You can attack targets. The targets you can set either by something attacking the mob or the attack in sight. For certain mobs, you can choose from all of the vanilla mobs, and if you have custom mobs in here, you can use that as well. That would be that. Oh, and there's also the attack on melee. That's pretty much the sword attack, and yeah. So, the target tasks. The target tasks are just like watching, following, avoiding, and following the same mobs. I wish this could be set to like a different type of mob, but unfortunately it's only this current type of mob that you are creating that can be followed. Village related tasks, this is opening doors, closing doors, and moving indoors. Pretty basic village tasks. The break doors would be the zombie, and then the others would be the villagers. The other tasks, this is just eating grass like sheep and cows, and I believe chickens. And then the restricting sun, that would be that would make the mob burn during daylight. So if you want to have that happen, you can do that. Okay, up above the AI section, there is the enable AI. This turns all of this down here on or off. If it's off, the mob does nothing at all. This may be possible if you want to have a more detailed statue or something of that sort. But yeah, you can also have an AI base. This will overwrite quite a bit of what's already done in the mob AI. They have fixed this a little bit, but yeah, you can choose, I believe, from nearly all the vanilla types of AI, in which there aren't too many of. Okay, below the enable AI, there's the make the mob breedable. This is self-explanatory. You can check it and then add different items, which you can add multiple of, that you can use to breed the mob. As you can see, the breedable forces the AI to be enabled, so be wary of that. And then to make the mob do range attacks, you click up here, and then over here you click and you find the item that you want the mob to be throwing. So you can have arrows, you can literally have them throwing blocks if you want. So yeah. Next page, this is where you do all of the spawning for the mob. So you can enable spawning, you can disable it, you can have it despawn when nothing's happening with the mob, you can, or not, you can change the spawn probability. 20 is actually rather high. I don't know why they have that as the base amount. This probably should be like 10 or 5. So yeah. And then the spawning type, you can just make it spawn just like any other monster, like a zombie or a skeleton, where it spawns underground or during the night. You can also have it be a creature. I believe this is like a cow or whatnot, so it spawns during the daylight or above ground, I believe. Then ambient, I'm not entirely sure what this is. What I am thinking is probably bats. But yeah, and then there's water creatures, so that would be squid. That would spawn here. Okay, so up next is the minimal amount and maximal amount of mobs in a spawn group. You can change this. 3 will mean that there will always be at least 3 mobs spawning when this type of mob spawns, you can change this down to 1. Then the maximum amount is 30. Generally, this happens to spawn in between the two numbers. So, and sometimes it is closer to maximum, sometimes lower to minimum. It's random, as it should be. So yeah, you can make it spawn your mob spawn in only specific biomes, and you have all of the vanilla biomes and sub biomes to choose from, and you can have multiple biomes in your list. You can also put custom biomes, and that will work. So yeah, you can also make it spawn in dungeons, just like skeletons, spiders, poison, cave spiders, zombies, and all of those types of things that spawn in the mossy cobblestone and cobblestone boxes that happen to be underground. So yeah, you can have that. And that actually is the end of the mob. What was that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 pages. So yeah, 6 pages to create a mob. And okay, so let's show you what this will look like in game, because of course I should show you the actual model to show you that it works. Okay, here we are in the test environment, and as you can see, that would be the custom entity or mob model. And you can also see that the spawn amount of 20, that was way too big. Way too big. So yeah, now you know that the mob models work. And yeah, you can tell that you can kind of tell it's lightning, I guess. I might need to change a little bit of some certain things. But yeah, this is craziness. If you have enjoyed watching this video, please leave a like and consider subscribing. Click the notification bell to be notified when all of the next upcoming videos come out. I believe my next video will be custom doors, so keep a lookout for that. Again, all of the links I have mentioned in the video, I believe there was just 2, the original mob elements video and the custom mob animations. Those will be in the description. Yeah, feel free to click any of the videos you see on either side of me, and I shall see you next time.